YouTube world. How's it going? I'm here going to be talking about attitudes tonight, but I wanted to see if anybody was on to chat with me. I'm going to write a question here in the group. They're in the chat. Let's see, what was it? How is... Oh, there we go. Let's figure out when we need to. There we go. There's a question. So if anyone is coming on, I pinned a question in the chat. Or I didn't pin it. I actually posted the first question. When was the last time you talked about what was right in your life or your marriage or your homeschool, etc., anything like that, versus what was wrong? So I'm trying a different time this week. I decided to go live in the evening. Decided to go live in the evening just to see if it would get any, more viewers than I normally do. But it looks like I might not be because there isn't anybody on right now. So I could just wait, or I'll just keep on talking. I want to talk about attitudes. I'm telling you, when I get some time to myself, which happens very rarely, but this weekend, we went and visited my family and we went and visited my in-laws, and I had some time to get some extra sleep. I got a nap. I got some fresh air. I sat out in the sun for a while. That's always a good thing. And I was able to just kind of chill for a little bit. And when that happens, I'm usually, things that have been bubbling in my mind tend to come out. And I had a whole bunch of ideas, questions, thoughts about attitudes. And for us moms, it could be dads too, but for the recycled mom and the single moms and grandmoms and every kind of mom out there. You don't have to be married, don't have, whatever kind of mom you are. I understand that a lot of us moms are unhappy, or we're discontent, dissatisfied, annoyed, frustrated, overwhelmed, you name it. And this is an attitude check. Hey, Marie, how you doing? I decided to try a different time and try Sunday night and see if I could get to talk to anyone. So I'm glad you joined in. And I was talking about, yes, happy Sunday to you as well. I was actually talking about attitudes in my Recycled Mom group chat this evening. And we were talking about, it was just an attitude check. Do you need an attitude check? Because I know I do. There's a lot that, we deal with. And hey, Night Owl, how you doing? Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. But yeah, so we're talking about attitudes. We're talking about how negative attitudes, this is an interesting little tidbit, but negative attitudes, or let me put it this way. A negative attitude is one of the top 4 reasons why marriages fail. And this book that I've been reading, I've been reading it on my Kindle on my phone. But this book that I was reading was dealing about marriages. But I thought, man, this could apply to all kinds of moms. you have one of those attitudes this week too, Night Owl. Welcome. This chat is for you. This is for all of us that have attitudes. Now, okay, just remember, attitude can be good or bad. So we have either a positive or a negative attitude, right? And we want to always try to have more of a positive attitude. Because negative attitudes, and I know we all know this, but it goes without, we need to be reminded that keeping a positive atmosphere in our home, in our life, in our mind, that it's healthy. It's healthy for everyone involved. It's healthy for you. It's healthy for your spouse if you have one. It's healthy for your kids if you have those at home too. It's healthy for people that you work with. It's healthy for everybody when we have positive attitudes, when we have a team spirit. But here's what I read, and it was, again, it was referring to marriage, but it said, giving your spouse the benefit of the doubt is something that you should want to do and something they deserve, just like you deserve benefit of the doubt. This means you can't leave your attitude to chance. When you do, you gamble on which attitude will make an appearance, positive or negative. This can be seriously damaging in a marriage, as words carelessly spewed cause hurt, anger, and resentment. Okay, yep, you got to work on boundaries, Night Owl. That's right, we do. You got to have that boundary, and boundaries are healthy. That's okay to have those boundaries. You need to have them for you, for your personal health. And that's one of the things that I've been wanting to do this year is work on, my health mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay. And that is, yes, boundaries is right there with that. You need to have those boundaries. And we need to be evaluating our attitudes all the time. Okay. It doesn't mean when you're in a funk and you have a crappy attitude all the time, that you need to sit down and evaluate, but I'm preaching to myself here. So please understand the you is general and not you singular. Okay. So, I put a question in the top of the chat. You would have to scroll up to the top if you just joined in. But the question at the top of the chat, so that we could check ourselves and say, do I have a negative attitude? I thought I was pretty good, but you have to actually stop and think and ask yourself, when was the last time you talked about what was right in your life or your marriage or your homeschool, etc., whatever you want to put in there? When was the last time you talked about what was right versus what was wrong? Okay, so bring up a situation like homeschool. I have a lot of homeschool mom friends. You can bring up marriage. You can bring up your relationship with your kids. Maybe you have an issue with one child. Maybe you have a child that has a lot of things that, a lot of special needs and a lot of things going on with them. When was the last time you talked about what was right versus what was wrong? Do we always tend to flop over to what was wrong and always talking about what's wrong? Or are we always trying to adopt a positive attitude? Some other areas that you can ask yourself are, how is your attitude regarding your marriage? How is your attitude regarding your family? And I'm talking about not the family in your home, like you, your husband, your kids. I'm talking about, when I say your family, I'm talking about your family that's going this way with your parents and maybe your siblings. How is your attitude in your home? Because, let me tell you guys, this. Kids, they don't do things and they push till I freak out. Oh, no freaking out allowed. Okay, no freaking, okay? The key is to not let them push. There's no pushing allowed. No push. No, you don't push mom, okay? You're not having it. And the minute you start to push, you're going to find out something. You'll find out mom's bad side. No, but when you have to sit down and evaluate how your attitude is, toward in any of these things, your relationships, your work environment, how's your attitude toward God, if you have, or your faith, depending on whatever it is that you do, how is your attitude toward that? And most importantly, how is your attitude toward yourself? How do you view yourself? Okay. Are you always more negative or more positive? And we've been focusing a lot Yeah, Mama Bear. um, in the Recycled Mom group chat that we have on Facebook, in the group, we've been focusing a lot on how we view ourselves. In last, yeah, this is still April. So last month in March, I did an I am project, and I went around and had some select women that I knew, and I knew that I thought would participate as well, but that they would write an I am statement. And some of them had a challenge with that, and some of them were just like lickety split. They knew what they wanted to write, but it was about how they view themselves. Oh, okay, Night Owl, you're negative about yourself a lot, but not to them. Let me ask you something, Night Owl. Do you think that if we are negative about ourselves, because I do this too, so if we're negative about ourselves, do you think that that would filter into other relationships in some kind of a way? If I'm always down on myself and negative about myself, am I going to? Do you think it might filter out into other relationships? Yeah. Okay. So you think so? I agree. I totally agree. If I am negative about myself, I'm probably going to be negative about my relationship with my husband. I'm probably going to be negative about my relationship with my Lord. I'm going to be negative about how I view a whole lot of things. And it goes, and that shifts around, if I have a negative view toward God in my life, my relationship or how I view him, it's going to filter and affect all kinds of other areas. So I know that, oh, here's the definition of attitude. I'm sorry. I'm looking down at a notebook because I had some time this weekend to write down a lot of thoughts. So, okay. So you've been pulling away from church and family. Okay. Is that, oh, okay. It's okay. I'm looking down at this. I do this when I wrote on the way home this afternoon in the car. I was writing down a lot of thoughts, and an attitude is, and this is our attitude. Our attitude is an interpretation of the world and what the way we think and how we react within it. That's our attitude. It's how we view things. It's how we view the world, how we view, and it's also the way we think and how we react to all of these things. So, so every result that we have in life, everything that we're dealing with, and every result that we have in life is impacted by our attitude. So I know you all know this. I know that anybody that's watching this, you all know that, attitude is a big thing, and attitude impacts everything. If you have a positive attitude, it's going to impact your life in a healthy, beneficial way. If you have a negative attitude, it's always going to be about the worst. You were sick for 6 weeks, Night Owl? Not one person tried to see or make sure if I was okay. No one, like in your family or in your church family, didn't come to check on you? Did they know you were sick? You had been like missing church and they didn't, church and family. Oh, just your dad. Okay. Oh, and they knew you were sick, and because like we have in our church, like when people are sick, we get them on the prayer list and we send cards and stuff. He made sure. Okay, maybe you're typing out some more. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that. But okay. Well, oh, I'll wait for you to see if there's another little comment coming in. So I'll take a drink here in just a second and see if there was some. He made sure. Is there supposed to be more to that? Sorry. So this is a good thing. It's not a good thing. Forgive me for that didn't come out right. My dad made sure. Okay, and you pulled back from church. I'm pretty sure that when you're not even being considered, or, if you're not thought of, or if, you feel like you don't exist, I can see why you would want to pull away from church. I'm very sorry. That hurts my heart. So you have now a situation where there's some conflict there. You have a couple things that you can do as far as letting someone know that you were hurt. And that's a thought. When you are offended, the Bible does tell us to go and tell someone, that you were hurt. You could always say, I was a little disappointed that no one checked up on me. Yes. So yeah, I'm answering that very thing that you're typing. I would, and here's why. I mean, I would say something to your pastor, but you can approach it from a me point of view, rather than you didn't do that. When you start pointing the finger and saying you didn't talk to me, or you didn't do that, you can say, I was away from 6 weeks and I didn't hear from anybody. And maybe there was a reason for that, but I felt a little let down that, no one checked on me. Something bad could have happened to me, and, I would have been left alone, or, at least you had your dad come and check on you. But to not be considered, and you can definitely say that you were hurt by that. When you're saying, when no one came to check on me or ask about me or call, I felt a little bit let down and hurt. And I am telling you this because in the Bible, it does tell us that when we are offended or hurt, that we should go to that person and tell them. Otherwise, I think, Night Owl, you're going to have some unresolved issues there. You're going to have some unresolved hurt, which is going to lead to some other things. It may not be with this church, but it might be, if it is already affecting your church attendance, it could affect your church attendance somewhere else too. It's going to affect how you feel about people at church. God is helping you figure it out, and I think He led me here tonight. Well, you know what, Night Owl? I almost did not get on YouTube because I just finished the chat over in our Facebook group, and I just finished over there, and I said, well, maybe I won't because it's a little bit later than usual, but I decided to go on anyway. So I'm glad, praise the Lord, that, that we're here together. So I'm glad you tuned in. And I know, let me just say from experience, I know that when you've got a lot of unresolved issues, that never are able to be dealt with, you carry that, and it ends up just being this pile of stuff under here that we just like, well, whatever, it's no big deal, or I'm over it now, but we never actually get to really deal with that. And then it's like something that's like a little sticky piece of something, and another thing comes along and it sticks to it, and then another thing comes along and it sticks to that, and then before you know it, you've got this mountain of caca. And yeah, thank you, Night Owl, bless you too. But then you just get this mountain of caca that you have to deal with. And that's never good. That's never good. We just want to be able to go in and clean out what we can clean out when we can. We just have to deal with little bits at a time. But I could tell you when you've got that little bit of unresolved, that unresolved hurt, it will turn into bitterness. And, when you sit down and you start going through and analyzing your attitude in different areas of your life, you're going to find that most of the negative attitude that we have stems from some real, and don't take this the wrong way, it stems from some petty things, and not petty, but small. I guess maybe that's what I should say. What was kind of a minor issue has now become a major thing. And this could be something that would lead to you never, ever going to church again because someone didn't check on you. You see what I'm saying? It starts to affect our attitude. Yeah, it does. It really does. And this is why I said in the beginning of the video that the negative attitude is one of the top 4 reasons why marriages fail. And I would say negative attitude, and it doesn't have to apply to marriages, but that's just the fact that the statistic that I heard. And if marriages fail, because of negative attitude. Can you imagine how your relationships fail, with God, with the church, with friendships, family? I mean, we're not immune to, you know, um, negative attitudes. It affected your last relationship? Yes, it does. It's affected some of my past relationships before I got married, with my husband and with other relationships that I have been in. It had, negative attitude. And a lot of times in marriages or any kind of a relationship that you have, a lot of times the negative attitudes don't really get dealt with, because this area down here, and I do this underlying current stuff, but this area down here tends to be, full of conflict, and it's kind of scary down here. And we have to be willing to go down in deep and face some of this stuff down here that's just sitting down there. Got to go in and clean out that closet that you don't ever want to open, and you just keep stuffing stuff in. You kind of got to go in there and pull out something, or clean out that basement or that attic and say, it's time we got to get in here and pull out some of this stuff and deal with it. You got to touch it and you got to look at it and say, hey, I need to make a decision about this. I need to either let it go or I need to deal with it. Right? And sometimes letting it go is dealing with it. And yes, you are right, Night Owl. We need to reach for God's hand. And if we're taking him down deep with us, we're taking God into that closet with us and saying, I need you to help me clean this out. He is willing to go there. Search me, oh God, try me and know my heart, know my thoughts, know my feelings. That's what the Bible says. And David prayed that a lot. Search me. If there's anything I need to get rid of, show me, and let's get it out on the table, and then we can deal with it. And that's what God wants us to do. And you know what? He knows anyway. He already knows our stuff. Yeah, absolutely. He knows what we're dealing with. But he's not going to come in and force us, to deal with it. He doesn't force himself on us. He's always standing there waiting and like, hey, I was wondering when you were going to come on by. Come here, child. Come sit down. Let's talk. Right? So why do we focus on the negative all the time? Well, I'm pretty sure you know the answer to that, and it's easy. Misery loves company, right? It's so much easier to always just focus on everything that's right here in front of us, and usually it's negative. It is hard when it's hard though when it's church family. It's hard, boy. It's hard to. I did this. I dealt with this some too, Night Owl. My husband and I changed churches in 2017. And boy, time is going by, fast now. But we have been with our new church since July. Is that right? July, August. We officially joined in October. And but it was a long process before that, because there were just some things that needed to be said, and we went to our pastor and we talked about it, and we talked about how we felt that God was making this, telling us that this change needed to happen, and we didn't understand it all, but there were a lot of reasons that we knew that we couldn't stay. And but yeah, I'll tell you that whole process, it's hard when you have to actually confront church family and start talking about some nitty-gritty stuff. And I know that God will help you with all of that. So I think some of the things that we do need to remember when we are trying to adopt a positive attitude, and I think it's a daily process. So I don't think we're going to be able to adopt this positive attitude today and it's going to be with us for the rest of our life, because I think we're going to be back and forth. Positive for a couple things, negative, positive, negative, positive. We're going to bounce back and forth because we're going to, we're going to get into a funk because we're human. Oh, night owl, it's absolutely nice to have someone check on you. That's not needy. We all want to be wanted. Let's put it that way. Um, in our marriages, in our friendships, in our families, that's just who we are as people. We want to be wanted and loved, recognized, um, thought of, not some afterthought. Um, we want to be, thought of and loved and appreciated. And God designed community for us for that purpose. And marriage, it's not good that the man should be alone, and he made a helpmeet, and he made that union, and that we would have companionship and love, nurturing, growth, that kind of thing with husband and wife. But we also have friendships that nurture us on a different level. There's all kinds of different relationships that we have. And in those relationships come complications. And, because, life, we always say that life happens, curveballs, hurts, disappointments, that kind of stuff, it will come our way. And though we can't prevent conflict, we can just be prepared for it. We can be prepared for the hits that come our way. Let's put it that way, positivity is coming through. Yep. And we can be prepared for the hits. And this got me thinking about the Rocky movies. If any of you guys have seen, Rocky, yo, Adrian. Okay. I got to thinking about that today. It's like, why was Rocky such a great fighter? He was short. If you remember, he was shorter than the average. And in the very beginning, he was clumsy. He got better as he went along. He had a lot of heart. But, and it wasn't that he was a super power hitter. What made him such a great fighter was because he trained to withstand the hits and to stay in it to win it. I mean, look back at all the Rocky movies, and how did he train? He trained mentally and he trained physically, and they go together. He trained to physically endure the fight, but as well as mentally endure the fight. And that if you check out of that fight mentally, you're going to lose. If you can't physically endure the fight, go the distance, you're going to lose. Right? And he trained physically and mentally so that he could be strong in both areas. If he could have a strong mind, he could, mind over body. They always say mind over matter. If he had a strong mind, he could be in it. He could get in that zone. He could be in it to win it, even when his body was starting to fail. If he had the endurance to go, that would help him mentally. It went both ways. And I think, now I know that's a Rocky movie, but I know that there's biblical principle in that. We have a huge mental battle in our minds. We have a battle spiritually, and a body physically. And just as all of this goes together, when one area of our mind, body, spirit goes whack, it's going to affect the other. And so all areas need to be worked and trained every day, if you will. We have to be, mentally, spiritually, and physically fit so that we can be in it to win it. We can endure this life. And, because and I know too, that when you get to a point sometimes when like your body is working against you, your body's going to start to fail. And then you get kind of frustrated with your body, and that's going to affect your mind, and that's going to cause depression, and then that will probably cause binging or eating or doing something, maybe something else. If it's not eating, it could be, drinking or something else, and then that will cause, the binging for me will cause the weight gain, which goes back to the beginning, makes me frustrated because I'm cheating so much and I'm gaining weight, and that's going to cause depression and puts, you know where I'm going. This is endless cycle. Let's see, Ephesians 6. Hang on a second. I'm looking up. Ephesians. I'm using my phone on my Bible. I mean, my Bible on my phone. I just said phone on my Bible. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, look at you, got a little circle in your comment. It's a vicious cycle. Children by your parents, servant be obedient to the masters, the same thing, measure, but he's strong. Oh, yes. Okay. Finally, my brethren. This is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Oh, this is you're talking about putting on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. And then it goes on to talk about the armor of the Lord. And yes, I mean, this is all so that we can be protected, because all the devil needs is a little crack in our mind to get in there and say, and just start wreaking havoc and saying, well, you can't do this, and you can't ever say no to those potato chips, and you can't ever do this and this and this and this. Yes. And when we are prepared for the hits, yes, you've got the armor of God, and in that you have the power to break the cycle that you're in. You've got the power to break this negative cycle. You are in control of your attitude and your response to things. You are in control of, we were just reading about the armor of God. You are in control of putting that on. As a child of God, you have that armor every day hanging in your closet. Are you going to put it on? A lot of us go out and don't put it on. And you wonder why we're having problems every day, right? That we're having attitude problems, and we're weak, and, we're struggling. Absolutely. Yep. And the problem is that we don't want to, we don't, for whatever reason, we don't put the armor on. We aren't prepared for the hits that come our way, like the Rocky analogy that I was using. So we end up in this perpetual negative cycle, and we keep just spinning down and down and down. And I'm telling myself, and I'm telling ladies like you, that you have the power right within you to change this, to stop this cycle, to break it. You've got the power. You are in control of your attitude, and it's your choice. So if you are not wanting to change this cycle, if you find that all you're doing is complaining about the cycle, and all you're doing is complaining about everything every day, and I tell you, I see Facebook posts every day, and a lot of the times I hear all the negative. Something bad happened to me, now I got to complain about it. Oh, if it wasn't for this and that and the other thing, and they use Facebook as a complaining thing. But when I say, you've got the power to change this, and they just don't, they use all these excuses. I would say, if that is you, I would say, I think you need to sit down and explore this area. Explore why you would rather stay in a negative, disastrous cycle rather than have a positive life, a positive day. Let's just start with one thing at a time instead of life, just a positive day or a positive thing happen. You need to actually sit down and look. Yes, Night Owl, we need to be reminded every once in a while. And that's why I'm doing this video, this live chat, that just to be there to remind people, to be that person. I need reminding. So if I'm just on here talking to myself all the time, I'll be happy to do that, because I can come back and watch this video and remind myself that most times, when I'm looking and I've got this negative attitude and I get in a funk, I'm in funky town, as I said in one of my other videos. I need to take some time and explore what's going on. Why don't I want to do this? Why would I rather stay in this cycle than get out of the cycle and have something positive? And I think I need to sit down and list out, what attitude am I bringing to the table in regards to my marriage, in regards to my kids, my body, my faith. I mean, that's a big one. How do I view God? Because that affects a whole lot of things. What attitude am I bringing to the table when it comes to work? Of course, I don't work outside of the home. I'm here and I homeschool. So I would put homeschool in there. And then just at my home in general. And what is the attitude I'm bringing about in my life? How is it that I'm viewing my life? Is it, generally positive, or am I complaining about my lot in life? And I just need to sit down and, I encourage you to get a notebook and write some things down and explore these areas of this attitude. Why do I have this icky attitude in my marriage, or toward my body, or toward God? Why do I have? I hope you do, Night Owl. Let me know, how you go along and explore all of that, and what you discover. Because I'd really like to hear some feedback from some people. And you can email me at therecycledmom@gmail.com. My email, again, is therecycledmom@gmail.com. Or you can message me on Facebook. I think you're in our Facebook group too, the Night Owl. I thought that you might have been added in there recently. I'm pretty sure you're in the group. You can always message me on Facebook there too. So anyway, I really hope thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I just hope that this video, that anybody that's watching the replay and the Night Owl, I hope that you are thinking, or that this will inspire you to think about root causes for, a negative attitude, or just, taking time to celebrate the things that are going right. So I try to every week always have a check-in question. Tell me something that's going right. And then I hope that you all take some time to consider, your attitude in the different areas in your life, and that you take time to explore it a little bit further and share your thoughts. Write it down in a journal, take some things to God. Maybe, be willing to just go down deep and let these things come to the surface so that you can deal with them. Once you can see them, you can deal with it. Maybe it's going to be time to let some things go so that you can make that space for the good things to come in. Let the negative go, so you've got all of that space, that you can have something good fill it up instead. And I just hope that you all realize the power of a positive attitude, and just take one day at a time. Okay. Thank you, Night Owl, for doing this. I'm glad that you're here with me tonight. I am too. I am so thankful that I did go live tonight. And I've always said, if it's just for one person, I'd be happy to do it. So keep in touch with me, email me, message me on Facebook if you'd like, or share some comments here on YouTube if you feel comfortable doing so. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. All right. And I will catch you next time. Shine on. See ya.